Abisala, can you see
Okay,
my
it's not
screen?
yet up on my hand. It's not yet up. It's dark. I can't see anything yet.
Okay. Can anyone see my screen? Let me be sure
Look, I'm
it's
seeing reactions.
not up. Can anyone see my screen now? Or I should share it again? Abisala, can you
I
see it
can't
now?
see. I can't.
Okay, let me share it again then. Okay, what about now?
It's from my hand. It's still dark. Let me check more responses from people. So I'm going through the okay. Yes, it's up. I can see it. Yes, it's up. I think we are fine.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. Okay, so first thing that I'm going to say, there is an assignment, right? Because a lot of people are saying that they don't know that there's assignment last week, and it's really baffling me as like, do you guys even open the document, or is it just that you just read the and did not even open the document? And a lot of people have been saying we should send data set, we should send materials, and at the end of the day we are not using the materials. So please, there is assignment at the end of the week, at the end of today's task, and this assignment is not individual assignment. I would like to say that is a teamwork. So I'm not expecting individual to send any assignment. It is only your team lead that should send the assignment. Even if you do the assignment yourself, I'm not interested in whatever you do. It is what your team did that you should submit. And it's only your team lead that can submit. If you don't have a team lead, appoint someone to be your team lead and let the person submit. Another person cannot submit for your team. An individual cannot submit for your team. You can't say that, because you have done the assignment, you now want to submit for your team. No, there's only one person that can submit for your team. So this is not about, so now this is more of like collaboration now, because we are not just teaching you just to, by the time you want to start working in organization, you will definitely have to work with people. So this time around, you're not doing it individually, you will do it in a teamwork. So if you know something, you have to teach others as well. I hope everybody gets that. Okay, so we are already to 30. Okay, so let's see how fast we can go today. Okay, so today we'll be looking at power pivots. So like I said, I like my class to be interactive. If you have heard about power pivots in Excel before, can you tell, have anybody heard about power pivots in Excel before? You know power pivot, you have used power pivots before. Can you say something about power pivots? If you know power pivots, you have used power pivot in Excel before. Can you say something about it? Power pivots. Okay, do we have anyone? Power pivots. Power pivots. Do anybody have anything to say? Abisala, please, you might need to help me also. I think some people hands are up and you might need to please,
Okay,
because I
I'm
might
on
not be
it.
able to. Yeah, thank you. Power pivots in Excel. So let me just hear one or two person talk about power pivots before we move on.
All right. Wait, you have the mic.
Or
Akimbolaji.
do you have anybody that's true? I have used just pivot table. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, I know pivot table. Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah,
okay.
Bolaji.
For my, yeah, I think is we use it for pretty different things like creating model, creating measures, and for cleaning too. Like if you want to do some cleaning with your data, you can still use it for it also.
Okay. Okay, any contrary opinion? Yeah, thank you very much. Pivot table. Have you used?
Pivot,
Sorry, I say pivot table. No, it's not pivot table. Power pivot, rather. Power pivot.
yeah, it is used for the sake of dashboard normalization data. That's what I think. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, thank you guys, Balaji and Manso. So now, what is Power Pivots? So yesterday, we talked about Power Pivot yesterday, right? We did Power Pivot yesterday, and we did Power Query also, last week. Now, Power Pivot has limitation, and the limitation of Power Pivot is that you can only, when you are trying to analyze, you use Power Pivot. I'm sorry, we use pivot table. Sorry, it's a little bit confusing. So we use pivot table. Pivot table is what you guys did yesterday. When you are doing pivot table, you can only use one table to analyze, right? You can only use what? One table to analyze when you are using pivot table. But now, most of the time, right, you might have more than one table. Maybe you have customer table, sales table, product table that you want to analyze together. So that is where Power Pivot comes in, because Power Pivot is what you are going to use to create like a kind of model, and you start creating measures. Then you can now start analyzing with those different tables. Without Power Pivot, you won't be able to create models, and you won't be able to analyze multiple tables in Excel, right? So the limitation of pivot table, that is what brought in the Power Pivot. Do you guys understand, or you want me to recap? Do you understand? Can you show your reaction if you understand what I just said? Can you show your reaction if you understand? Just one person. Or just type yes if you understand. Just say yes if you understand. So let me just say let's say yes if you understand. Just say yes if you understand. Okay, that's good. Okay, so now, okay, it's fine, no problem. Now, so let's go back. Let's quickly look at today's document. I believe everybody has this document. You have this document. So what you are looking at today, we'll be looking at introduction to Power Pivots. We look at data normalization, primary key and foreign key, dimension table and fact table, modeling in Power Pivot, introduction to DAX, then assignments, which you already talked about. So let's quickly look at, we have a very interesting story here. Don't forget, when we did Power Query, we talk about a company called what? Global Trader. So there is a Global Trader. Global Trader is a company that sells various products like unisex wear, skin products, bras and sportswear, right? Now, the company had grown rapidly. Yeah, they have different data scattered, in different locations, and you guys have even helped them last week to clean some of their data. You help them to clean some of their data. But right now, the company today, what they have is that they have a single table, right? They have a single table that contains all their merged data. They just merge their data together in a single table. Now, they call, maybe you as a data analyst to come and help them to, to analyze, to help them to normalize their data, right? Using Excel. So they call on you, Excel has a special tool called Power Pivot, which it promised to bring, others to the company, data, right? Now, the journey begins with what? Data normalization. A lot of people does not understand what data normalization is. When you have a single table, right? That is the only time you can use Power Pivot. Sorry, that's the only time you can use pivot table. And that is what you guys did yesterday. So let me show you this data. Can you see this data? I believe everybody have the data. You have downloaded the data as well. This particular data, this is the data that the global trader, they have. They have merged all their data into a single table. Now, if you want to analyze this data now, it is easy for you to use pivot table, right? Because everything is on a single page. But this table is not normalized. This table is what is denormalized. Why? Because when you want to analyze data, you need to make sure that the data are well organized, right? They are well organized. You segment them into different categories, into different tables. That is what we call data normalization. At this moment, this table, this data here is denormalized, right? And that is what we are talking about in our story here. The journey begins with data normalization. Ezell explained that, that to make sense of the data, it needs to be organized properly. Global trader are scattered in different sheets with some information, duplicate and some missing. The data detective learned how to break down the data into separate tables, each representing a different aspect of the business, such like product, sales, and customer. So those are the things that we're going to be looking at today anyway. Then we will talk about primary keys and foreign key. Primary key is a unique identification. I'm not going to dwell too much on all these things because the next class, which is Power BI, you guys will still continue with all these things there. But it's just for you to know that this thing can be achieved with Excel, right? So the primary key, the foreign key, we'll talk about it a little bit. We also have dimension table. When we talk about dimension table must always be unique. Please, dimension table is what must always be unique. The dimension table can contain your kind of category, your region, your product name. They are used as a filter, in your reporting. While fact table can contain duplicate record, like your transaction, your day-to-day activities. That is what your fact tables. And in your fact tables, you can see something like a foreign key there. While in your dimension table, you see something like a primary key there, right? So after that, we look at data modeling, how we can, model our data, probably using a star schema or using snowflake schema. So we'll see all these things there. Then we'll talk about a little bit of that as well. So I believe that everybody have the document. You can read through the stories. I won't be able to. Then your assignment, like I said, this is a group assignment. Is not an individual assignment. Okay, so let's go back to our Excel. Any question before I proceed? Any question from anyone? Any question? Any question? Where do we get the document from? Some questions are always funny to me. Anyway, I've dropped the document on the Discord channel, right? You can pick it up from the Discord channel. Okay, so any question before I proceed? Any question on what we are doing today? Any question? If there's no question, let's type no so that I will know that we are following. If there's no question, let's just type no question. Let's type no question. No, okay. Oh, okay. So okay, let's proceed then. Yeah. Okay. So now we have this data here. You can download the data as well. If you are fast enough, you can follow. But if you know you are not fast enough, just follow. You can go and watch the video again, and when you want to practice, you can practice it. And like I said, this assignment is even a group work. So it's not like, oh, I know it, and so it's a group work. So now we have a table. It's just a single table. And this information, they are not new to everybody because this is what we worked on last week. So now there is a data analyst that brought in all the tables together. That is what he knows. He just knows how to use pivot table. But you are coming in as an expert, right? You are coming in as an expert. You know more than what person A knows. The only thing person A knows is what is just to use pivot table. But you know that no, this thing is not normal. Now, the question that someone here asked me is that how will I know when to use power pivot, or how will I know when to use pivot table? Nobody is going to tell you that you should use power pivot or you should use pivot table. But as an expert in your field, you know that this thing is not a normal way of doing it. Let me normalize it. So that is where you come in as an expert. You see a data like this. No, this data cannot be like this. Let's normalize this data. I can segment this data into dimensions and fact tables. You understand? I can create a primary keys and foreign key and create a model. You normalize them, right? So now how do we normalize this data now? I talk about this data is in a denormalized form, right? You can say that we have other products, we have some customer, we have all of this. So now what we're going to do is that how to normalize them, right? We'll normalize it now. So, but before we normalize it, in your Excel, if you did not have power pivots in your Excel, right? If you don't have power pivot in your Excel, in some Excel, you will see it on your tab here, maybe beside the developer or after the app, you will see it there. If you do not have power pivot, go to your file section, then go to more, click on option. I hope I'm not too fast. When you click on option, go to add-ins. Then you click on this manage. Then you click on the drop down. Then you click on come add-ins. When you click on it, click on go. Then you see Microsoft Power Pivot Excel. All right, can you see? So we'll click on it. Then you click on OK. When you do that, you will see the Power Pivot icon at the top. Can you see Power Pivot? Do we get that? I hope we all get that. If you get that, can you type yes? If you get that, can you type yes if you get that? If you get that, how to add power pivot. Okay. You said no. Who is saying no? If you did not understand or what? No. I'm getting no. Okay. So let me recap. So I said you should go to file section, click on more, go to option. When you click on option, click on add-ins, then go to manage, then click on the drop down, click on come add-in. When you click on come add-in, click on go, then you will see power pivot. You select it, then you click on OK. When you click on OK, it will show you power pivot here. Can you see power pivot? Okay, so I believe we have those that missed that. I believe you have gotten that. So you have your power pivot here already. Now let's normalize this table now. So how do we normalize it? So to normalize it, already make it easier for us. Whenever you see all these customers, right? You put all customers information. So I'm going to copy all the customer information. I'm going to copy it into another table. I will copy it here. Or let me just cut it. I'm going to cut it. So I will cut it. Okay, so let me see. Yeah, so let me come back here. So let's cut it. I'm going to cut this. I'll click on this page and I'll paste it here. So can you see? So we can see that I've take all the record from here, the one that are customers, I've take all the record from here. So now we have what again? We have the shipper. So we have the shipper. I'm going to cut the shipper as well. I'm going to click on a new sheet. I'll click on a new sheet and I'll paste the shipper here as well. Can you see the shipper? I'll go back here. Let me remove this one. Then we have products. Okay, all this one are products. So I'm going to copy all this one as well. I will cut this one as well. So we want to normalize this data. So I'm going to paste them here as well, so you can see. So now, you can see. Okay. So now, can someone tell me something is missing in all the table that I copy? Something important is missing that I have not copied. I don't know if anybody observed that. There's something important that I copy across all the table. Okay, so we have the product table that I copy, the customer. Okay, let me check the customer full name. Okay, the customer, then the shipper table. Okay, so okay, so can someone tell me there's something that I didn't copy, that I've not copied yet, that is missing and is very, very important? And anybody
Customer
identify
ID.
customer ID? God bless you. God bless the person that speak. ID is very, very important. Any table you are creating, especially when you are creating a dimension table, the ID is very, very important because that ID is your primary key. You understand? The ID is very, 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 very important. It's very, very important. So we need to copy the, so this time around, we are not going to cut it. We are only going to copy it. We are not going, because we must have a copy, because this table now, this particular table now is going to be like our fact table, right? This main table, the one, we have copied all the other information that we want to segment, put them into category, and we want to dimension those one, right? So now the most important key that we need is what? The product ID. You put the product ID here. So let's go back to our product table. So let me insert. Okay. So let me insert that. So let's insert our, okay, so let me copy it again. Copy. Then I'll come here and I will paste it here. So this here, this is the product ID for each of those items, right? So so the next one is to copy what? The customer ID. We have customer ID as well. So let's copy the customer ID as well. So let's go back to the customer table. Okay, customer table. So let's insert copied. Yes. So this is the customer ID. Then the last one is what? Is our ship. So let's go to our ship. So this ship VI, right, is our ship ID. The ship VI here is our ship ID. So let's copy it. So I'm going to copy, then I'll come here, then I'll insert it here. So insert copied cell. Now, what we want to do is what? We want to normalize our data. So we want to categorize them, create a dimension table and a fact table, right? So now, this table, we will call it our product table. We'll call it product table. This one is our what? We'll call it our customer table. Then this is our what? Is our ship table. Ship table, our shipper table. And this is our what? So this one is now our order table, or you can call it sales table as well. Orders. Okay, let's just call it orders. Right. So now we have our orders table, product table, customer table, shippers table, right? Now, this, I mentioned something earlier, right? When I was talking, I was explaining something around a dimension table and a fact table, right? Now, a dimension table were like the actor in a story, providing context and details such as product name, categories, and region. While fact table were like event in the story, recording action like what? Sales, quantity, and revenue, right? Now, let's come back to our Excel. Now, we want to what we are trying to do is that this data, we have the product table. The product table had the one that they are, if you want to, for example, now, let's say that you are selling a particular product. This particular product, which is 56, product ID 56, which is, okay, this is the name of this product now. I cannot really pronounce the name very well, but you can see that on this table, we have a replicate of this product. Can you see that product ID 2, it's replicated multiple times, right? Can you see that it's replicated multiple times? But on this table, we don't want a replicate of this record here. We only want it once. Hello, we only want what? This record to appear just once. It is only in our fact table that we can have a replicate of that record. Now, let's go back to this product table now. So what should we do? How do we remove duplicate? Can anybody tell me how to remove duplicate? I'm very sure that, in our first class, they taught us on how to remove duplicate. Can anybody guide us on how to remove duplicate? Anyone? How do you remove duplicate? I can't see your screen. Really? Can you guys see my screen? Someone say you can't see my screen. Can you all see my screen? Let me know if it is from my hand. Can you see my screen? You can see my screen, say yes, or the thumb up is back. I can see. Okay. I think is their network. Okay. So can someone tell me how to remove duplicates? We can see us. Okay. So can anybody tell me how to remove duplicates? So I want to remove because what is it?
Through filtering.
Filtering. Okay, that's one option. That's one way. Is there any other way we can remove duplicate? Anybody? Anyone? Any way to remove duplicate? Anybody who want to give it a try? Someone said you can remove duplicate by using conditional formatting. Really? Wow. Okay. I'm hearing that one for the very first time. Okay. Any other way? Or go to the data tab. Okay. From the data tab. Okay, so yes, from the data tab. So now let me highlight everything here. Then you go to your data tab, like someone suggested. So you can see remove duplicate under your data tools. Under the data tools, you see remove duplicate. So I'm going to remove duplicate from here. So I'm going to first remove duplicate from all this entire record. Then I will say okay. So you can see 2078 duplicate found and remove 77 unique values remain, which is okay, right? So I've removed duplicates now. Now let's confirm. So can you see? Now we have removed all the duplicate. Now the most important place that you even need to remove duplicate from is the product ID. Now, after you do like maybe a general removing of duplicate, now let's come back to our product ID here. You can still come here to come and remove because duplicate must not be on your product ID. So let's continue with the current selection, remove duplicates. Okay. So yes, we have the correct data now 78. Though when we do the general one, it still gives us 78, which is correct, right? So we can see now that we don't have any duplicate record here again. Okay. So now let's go to our customer table. We'll do the same thing as well. So in our customer table, how many records do we have? Can you see? 2156. Meanwhile, our customer is not up to this. So what we are trying to say basically is that we want to create a table for customers. Now, let's say Adiola, right? Adiola is a customer in a bank. Because Adiola went to the bank 3 times or 4 times in a day, does not mean that Adiola is 4 in that bank. It is still the same Adiola that is going to the bank, several times in a single day, or maybe go to a supermarket in a single day. You understand? Now, what we want to do is that we want to keep a single transaction, a single record of Adiola. Okay, Adiola, where does Adiola stay? What is the full name of Adiola? What is the address? Which country is Adiola staying? We just want to have a table that gives us a description of the customer. And when you are given a description of the customer, you must attach an ID with it. What do I mean by an ID? So whenever you have a transaction record, whenever you call an ID, it means that you are referencing someone's name. It's just like when you are in university, your lecturer will never call you by your name because why? 2 people can be bearing your name. You can hear someone bearing Ajala Folorunso, another person is bearing Ajala Folorunso. The only way they can differentiate both of them is through what? Is through their matric number. I hope you get this concept. The same thing, if you go to a bank, when you go to a bank will never ask you what is your name. The first thing they will ask you is what? Give us your account details, your account number. And that is how they will know that, okay, truly, you are the owner of this particular account. They will not ask you for your name because if you tell them your name, another person can be behind that your name. Even if they put the name on their system, I am 100% sure that it's going to bring up to like 10 people name or 5 people name bearing the same name. But when you give them your account number, it's going to specify, filter your own account details for them. You understand? So that is exactly what we are trying to do. We want to create a customer table that is going to identify only your customer information, right? So that is why we are creating all these dimension tables and all. So let's remove duplicates from here. So I'm going to go to continue with the current selection and remove duplicate. So let's remove duplicate from here. Okay. So now we have removed duplicate. Now we have how many customers left? That is 89 customers. So that means that we actually have 89 customers, not 215 that it was showing before. So let's go to our shaper table. On our shaper table too, you can see that we have count of 21536. Meanwhile, we just have theory cheaper. The cheaper mode, like a company, this company is a kind of company that maybe they move goods from one place to another, and they are using a shipping company. Like they have the Federal Express, the Speedy Express, the Federal Shipping, and United Package that they are using to ship their goods. You understand? So, but in our table here, I can see that we have about 2156, which is not correct. So let's make this table to be unique, right? Let's make it to be unique. So how do we do? You go to your date, you remove duplicate, continue with the current selection, then remove duplicate. Okay. So can you see? Okay, so can you see now that so we have this, but you can see that this one is still we have removed the duplicate, but we still have some other information here. So probably we might need to just do remove from the entire record. So let's say okay. Why do we still have this one? Okay, so let's just remove this one. So these are the three shipping company that we have. These are the three shipping company that we have. So let me confirm from this one whether we do not have. Oh, this one to also happen like that. Okay, so let me just remove duplicate from the entire table then. So let's remove duplicate from the entire table. So I'm going to click on OK. So okay, so let me remove duplicates. Okay. So let's check this one now. So we still have, so all this one, they are not part of, the only one that we have is from here up. So we did not, so that's why I actually use select from the entire, from when I was doing the product before. Because for this product, the product will not have an issue because I remove it from the entire table. So now I hope you understand the concept of how to remove duplicates and all using Excel to normalize our table. Do we have question? Any question? Any question? Any question? Do you have any question? Any question from anyone? You can talk, you can raise your hand. There's no question. Let's say no question. We are good. We understand. So that I will know no question. Okay. That means that we are good. Okay. It's just one person. I need more response from us. No question. Okay. Okay. So let's move on then. Okay. So now let me explain what we are doing here. Right. So now if you go back to your orders table, this orders table is your transaction. Is your daily to day activities, what you are doing, the record you are keeping on a daily to day activity. Now, let's say that maybe for customer now, let's say that we have a new customer that want to patronize us. If we have a new customer, we will come here to come and say, okay, we are going to give the customer what? A customer ID. The ID that we are going to be using to identify that particular person. So for example, now let's see someone like so someone like this person now, well, I really do not know the kind of business they are doing here, but you see that for this person, the name appears more than once, but the customer ID is not the same. Can you see? The customer ID is what? Is not the same, but the names appear more than. So that's what I'm trying to say the other time, that you can have 3-4 persons that bear the same name, but their customer ID is not the same. Because they bear the same name does not mean that it's the same person. I hope you understand. Because you have 2 people bearing Adiola does not mean that it is the same Adiola. If I call Adiola on this call now, 2 people or 3 people can answer me because they are both bearing Adiola. But there must be a unique identification. If I now say that, okay, who is the owner of this email address? And that is why you see that whenever you are submitting your assignment, I say that attach your email address, because I know that your email address is unique. If I want to send a mail to anybody, I cannot mistakenly send a mail to another email because I know the email address is unique. That is why we request for your email address. You understand? So that's what I'm trying to say here is that whenever a new customer comes in, even if the customer is still this, maybe the person said that his name is this so person, we just give it what? A unique ID. They had the name of the customer, then put in all other information that you want to keep here. The same thing with your products. Or maybe shipper. Maybe now we want to have another shipping company to our business. This one now we'll put it as what? 4, because we already have 1, 2, 3. Maybe the new shipper, the shipping company is what? You put in the name, then put in the address here. You understand? So that is how you uniquely identify your dimension table. Now on your orders table, this particular table is called what? A fact table. And on this table, you will have what we call what? A foreign key. So what do we mean by foreign key? In this customer table, we have what we call what? A primary key. Now, primary key is what? Is a unique identification in the customer table. But when you see customer ID in another table, in that table that you are seeing, it is called what? A foreign key. Hello, I hope we understand. Now, you see product ID here. Product ID, what is it doing in the others table? Is a foreigner. This is not the initial table that it belongs to. The table that it belongs to is what? Is the product table. So when you see a key in another table, it is called what? A foreign key. But in that particular table, it is called what? A primary key. Now, I'm sure now that if I create a calendar table for us now, if I create a calendar table, this calendar table now, I create a calendar table and I have dates here. I have a date column here. Yes, I have a date column here. Now, if I go to my orders table, which okay, so anyway, when it comes to the date, a lot of people might be confused with with what to use. But what I'm trying to say is that if you have a calendar table here, a calendar table must always be what? Must be unique. If you want to reference a foreign key that is related to a calendar here, if you go to your orders table, you can use this your orders table. It can serve as your foreign key here. Even the ship date here is a foreign key, right? The orders date here is a foreign key. The ship date here is a foreign key as well. Even though you are calling it order date here, because we said that anything that has duplicate record, it is no longer dimension again. It is a duplicate information. Yes, the order date is the day that maybe the person patronized it. You understand? But at this point here, it is not a what? It is not a what? It's not a dimension. It's not it's more of like a foreign key here, right? It's more of like a foreign key here. Okay, so let me change this to a date. Let's change it to a date instead of time. So let's change it to date. So I hope you understand the concept of foreign key and dimension. Any question? We have question, or their address and even phone number are the same. Okay. Which address? Do you mean the shipper address? Okay. Well, this might be a mistake anyway. This might be a mistake. Yeah, this might be a mistake. Maybe in terms of the data is not the data. The data we are using here is a fission data. It's not like say the data is real. You understand? So we might need to correct the data maybe when we are computing the data. So it is not the same anyway. It's not the same. But this federal shipping. Hold on, I'm coming. So the data is efficient data anyway, so it's not like it's an accurate data. So we might need to adjust the data on later on. So okay, so let's just move on. Let's move on. Okay, so we have created our dimension table. You can see now that we have different tables and we have normalized our table now, right? Okay, so let me just close this. So I'm going to close this. Let me use this particular table. So if you have any question, please, you can drop your question. If you have understood, sir. Okay. If you have question, you can drop your question and you can raise your hand and speak as well. Okay. So enable contents. Yes. So okay. So now this is our table, just like what I did earlier. So this is the table that we have. You can see our table, product table, shippers table. Oh, so like I said, there must be a mistake in that data that I did earlier. So we have United Package, Federal Shipping, and Speed Express. So maybe there is a mistake somewhere else. So for the person that has a question, so I have already prepared the normalized date table already before. So I just want to show us how we can normalize it ourselves. You understand? So that because if I'm using these documents now for you might not understand how to normalize it. So let's quickly, because we have a lot of things to cover and there's no time. So now the next thing we want to do, yesterday you guys thought, Mr. Ashino taught you how to use pivot table, right? So today we want to use power pivots, to analyze our data. We are going to create a model, we're going to create a DAX, and we are going to do some analyze, a very little analysis, right? So now in our pivot table, right? This is our pivot table. Can you see pivot table? Let me go back from your home page. You click on your pivot table. If you have your pivot table here, right? Now you go to your table, these 4 tables that we have here. Just click on any of the cells here, then add to your model. You add this into your model. You click on model. When you click on model, this is going to add to your model. Okay, so you can see now the table has already been added. Okay, sorry. So I think I have all these things in our table. So let me delete all of them. So let me delete it and do it from the scratch. Let's do it from the scratch. Delete. So delete, yes. So delete. Okay. So yeah, I did not know that I have this in the model before. So now so let's just leave the others table. The others table is the one that we had now. So when you get here, this is your power pivot. What I say, this is your what? This is your power pivot. This is the page of your power pivot, right? So now we want to add more tables. How do we go back? So you will see the icon here. If you see your top left, at the upper left here, you can see, go back to your Excel. You can see this is my Excel. We are back to Excel. So I'm going to go to my customer table now. I'm going to add to the model again. I'm adding each of the tables to the model. So you can see I've added the customer table to the model. I'll go back to my Excel. Can you see? Go back to Excel. I'll go to my shipper table. Then I'll add this to the model again. I add it to the model. Can you see? I've added the shippers table to the model. I'm going back to the Excel again. So how do you go back to the Excel? You click on, you see the Excel icon at the top upper left here. Click on it, then to take you back here. Then click on product and add to the model. Do we understand that? Anybody confused? Can you please repeat it again? I don't understand the calendar parts, the foreign key and the primary key. Okay. Can you please repeat it again? So what exactly do you want me to repeat? Nisba. What exactly do you want me to repeat? What exactly do you want me to repeat, Nisba? Any question from anyone? Do you have a question? Any question? Any question? If there's no question, can you give a thumb up that you understand what we are doing? Can you thumb up? Thumb up that you understand what we are doing. Nobody. Can we talk about that? We understand what we understood what I've been explaining since morning. Got it up to normalization from where you move to the pivot table, sir. Can you please repeat it again? Okay, from where you move to the pivot table. Okay, Okay, so let me. Okay, so well, I'm going to remove products so that I will take it again. So I'll go back to my Excel. So from the Excel, right? So from the Excel, this is your Excel page, right? This is your Excel page. What I say is that from your own page, right? You go to your pivot, Power Pivot at the top here. I have shown you how to enable Power Pivot. Click on your Power Pivot. When you click on Power Pivot, it will bring out this data model, measures, KPI, how to data model, detect and settings for you. Now just click on the product table here. Click on any of the set, then add to model. When you add to model, it will take you to your Power Pivot. Can you see? It will take you to your Power Pivot. Now we have all our tables here. All the tables, we have it here. Now let's now start creating our models, right? So how do we create models? Models is what? Creating relationship between one or two tables. And we have different type of model. It depends on your organization or your data engineers, in case if you eventually work with a data engineer, and if you are working alone, it's better for you to understand different type of model that we have. We have the star schema and we have the snowflake schema. Those are the major ones. But the most standardized model is the star schema. The star schema is the most standardized model. So let's see how we can create our models. So from your home tab, you will see that we have data view. Data view is what is showing us this one. It's showing us the data view. You also have the diagram view. The diagram view is where you are going to build your relationship. You can see relationship. So now let's build our relationship. Let's build our relationship. Now, if you want to build your relationship, you build your relationship from your dimension to your fact table. I already explained that this is our fact table. This is our dimension. All these customer shipper product, they are what? They are like our dimension table. And dimension table is always what? Is always unique. Don't forget. Dimension table is always what? Is always unique. So I'm going to create relationship between customer and customer ID here. Can you see? So I'm creating a relationship between them now. Can you see? I've created the relationship. So let's create a relationship between the products as well. Product ID, creating relationship. So can you see creating relationship? The shipper ID. So here we have shipper ID and shipper VI. It is the same thing. So one thing about relationship is that it is not the name on the column that matters. It is the value inside it that matters. So you can say that we have ship VI here. Here we have ship ID, but the values inside it is what is going to create the relationship for us. So let's create the relationship. So you can see now that we have what? We have what? We have one to many. Can you see? Everything is what? One to many relationship. Can you see? One, many. You see this star icon? This star icon means what? Is many. Many means that we have a duplicate record there. Dimension table is always what? Unique. You can see that's why it is one to many, one to many. And this our relationship is what? One to many. Our cardinality here, if they ask about, okay, what is the cardinality of your relationship? The cardinality is what? Is one to many. We have other relationship like many to one, one to many, one to one. Once you get to Power BI, they will teach you more about that in Power BI. But in Power Pivot, you can only have one to many relationship. You can only have what? One to many relationship. Any question? Any question? Any question? Sorry, I'm not getting the issue that you guys are facing. That's sometimes because my network always makes your screen lagging. Any question? Do you have question? You can raise your hand if you have question before I move on. Do you have question? Any question? Do we understand? If you understand, can you thumb up if you understand? If you understand, can you thumb up? Reaction, yes, 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 if you understand. Do we understand? Abisola, are you still there? No question, but your screen is lagging. Really? Is it my screen? Okay, let me stop sharing and share again then. Sometimes it might be your network. Do we need to add the filter too before I do anything? I didn't add any filters. Okay, can you see my screen now? Can you all see my screen now? Can you see my screen now? Does data take long to load into the Power BI? This is what is happening in my head. Well, it depends on your system. Your system. So if your system is slow, it might take long, but it doesn't take long. Or if the data is large, it might take long, but if the data is not large, it shouldn't take long. So any question? If there's no question, your silence means that we are good. Any question? If there is no question, let's type no question. We are good. No question. No question. No question. Let me see. No question. Let me see your reaction. No question. Before we move on. No question. No question. Okay, Kabirat. Okay, Kabirat. Let's just hear from Kabirat and Kabirat. Can you can speak,
Okay, good
Kabirat?
afternoon, sir. Good afternoon,
Yeah.
sir.
Good afternoon.
Actually,
Good
I was
afternoon.
not there. I think my network logged me out the other time when you were loading the data. So I wanted to ask for the other table. Are we supposed to remove duplicates since the other table is like the fact table? So you remove duplicates from the other table, sir?
No. You can't remove the key from the other table. No. But wait, let me ask you a
Okay, sir.
question. Hold on. Let me ask you a question. Do you understand what the other table is doing?
Yes.
So
The other
why do
table
you
is like
ask
the
should that you?
transactionary table is the fact table there.
Okay, so why are you asking whether you should remove the key from it?
I just wanted to know. I thought about it like it's a question, but just wanted to know. Thank you very much.
Okay. So because one thing is to understand a concept, and another thing is to know, okay, why am I removing duplicate? Why am I not removing duplicate? You understand? So you need to first understand, okay, the idea of not removing the duplicate and the idea of removing duplicate. Once you understand the concept, it will help you, as you move on. Because if you do not understand it, you just feel like, okay, why don't we remove duplicate in this space as well? You understand? So understanding the concept is very crucial at this moment. And Boyega, yeah, it might be your network. I think others can see my screen. So if you can see my screen, can you say yes? So let me know whether it's from my hand. If you can see my screen, can you type yes? If you can see my screen, or thumb up if you can see my screen. Okay, Alani can say yes. If you can see my screen, can you type yes? Okay. So I believe it's not from my hand then. So let's move on then. So from the diagram view, we have created a relationship one-to-many cardinality, and our model, this type of model is called what? Is called star schema. Now, what is a star schema? A star schema is a type of model that connects dimension directly to the fact table. When you see all your dimension connecting directly to the fact table, it is a what? It is a star schema. Is a star schema. Once all your dimension have been connected to the fact table, they are called a star schema. But if two dimension, maybe a dimension table is connecting to another dimension table, not connecting to the fact table, it is called what? A snowflake schema. I hope maybe in your next class, they will touch about snowflake schemas and star schema for you in Power BI. So we'll not really talk about that. But we have different type of schemas, star schemas and snowflake schema. Okay, so now let's go back to our data view. Let's go to design. Now, on our design, we want to create a new table. Now, can anybody tell me there's one table that is missing, and that table is crucial for our time intelligence analysis? Can anybody tell me the table that is missing here that we need to create? That table is very, very important. If you want to create like a time series, want to do like a kind of time intelligence, want to create a year on year, month on month,
Calendar table.
want to do, what is it?
Calendar table.
Calendar table, exactly. God bless you. Calendar table. The calendar table is missing. Yeah. So we need a calendar table. In sometimes they might give you a calendar table. Sometimes they might not give you. You might have to create it yourself. So you can create a calendar table in Power Pivot as well. So we'll go to your data view. or you might not even need to go to data view. Just go to your design. Can you see your design tab? Go to the design tab. You see data table here. Click on the data table, then you see new. So we are creating a new calendar table. So it's going to create a new calendar table for us. Can you see? We have created a new what? Calendar table. So can you see? A new calendar table is being created now. Can you see? It's creating a calendar table for us already. Can you see? Automatically, can you see? It created the calendar table for us automatically. I'm not the one that created this one. Created the calendar table for us. Now, you need to go back to your model, go back to your home page, go back to the home. So let's go back to the home tab, then go back to the diagram view, then bring your calendar here, then let's connect our other date with our calendar date. So now you can see that we have something like a star schema already. So we have something like a star schema already, right? So we have our star schema already. So you can see this. Okay, so now let's go back home. Let's go back home. So this is let's go back home. Then let's go back to our data view, right? So now we have created what? We have created our models. We have modeled our data into a, what's it called, one-to-many cardinality using the star schema. We created the calendar table. All these things that I'm doing is what you are going to do in your assignment. So, make sure that you pay attention whenever you are doing your project or you are doing your assignment as well. So now we have created, some the models. We have created a relationship between two tables and all. Now this is what pivot table cannot do, because in pivot table you cannot analyze different tables together. You understand? You cannot analyze different tables together. But here now, because you have created a relationship between the table now, you cannot create a relationship between them. Now, let's quickly look at, I hope we have covered almost everything that we have in our item. We talk about data normalization, primary key and foreign key. We talk about it, modeling, which we just finished now. Now, the last thing is what? Introduction to DAX. So we are going to create calculations. And let's see how we can create calculations in Power Pivot. Any question before I move on? Any question? Any question? Any question before we move on? Can you all see my screen? Any question? You have question? If there's no question, can we say no question? Okay, no question. You guys are brilliant today. Nobody's having issue with Power Pivot. Wow, that's good. No question. Okay, so let's move on then. Now we have something called DAX. I'm sure for people that know Power BI, it's not going to be something new. The calculation in Power BI, whenever you want to do calculation in Power BI, we use what? We use DAX. And I think a lot of people always say that DAX is hard. It's not hard, actually. You just need to know how to write it, because it's not like Excel that you can say, oh, cell A1 plus cell B2 is going to give you the value. So there's no cell referencing in DAX. What you do is what? You reference the column, the table name and the column name. Those are the things that we are going to reference. So I won't be teaching you much of DAX here. So if you don't know DAX, I know that the Power BI tutors will dwell more on that. So this class is not about DAX, but we just create one or two DAX here to see that you can actually create a DAX in. And the truth of the matter is that this Power Pivot is actually good for you to master it. And the reason why I said that is because I remember when my current company, right? There is this application that we use to do our analysis. So we don't use Power BI to create models. We use Power BI to create visuals, to create reports, but we don't use Power BI to create models. We don't use Power BI to create DAX. So we use what they call analysis service. I don't know, maybe for people that are kind of advanced here or they are experts. So we use what they call analysis service. And it's my very first time. I don't know analysis service. And I used Power Pivot in Excel before. I find it very kind of difficult to navigate myself. But later on, when I now realized that even the analysis service look exactly like Power Pivot. If you know Power Pivot, for you to use analytics service, you have no almost, let's say almost 80% for you to use the application, because with your Power Pivot knowledge, if someone give you analytics service today and they just navigate to tomorrow, you are very sound with it. So please don't see it as that maybe, as some people will say that I know Excel now, there's nothing in Excel. But there are some things that you need to take conscious of, because you might not know where you're going to. Maybe someone or a company will just hire you tomorrow. They will ask you that, do you know how to use analysis service? And your response will be like, I don't know how to use it too. Meanwhile, what they're asking is that, do you know how to use Power Pivot in Excel, in analysis service? That's just exactly what they're asking you. So please, this is a very, very important tools that you need to master, especially for people that want to go into like maybe consulting firms, or you want to work in like an operational organization. So this Power Pivot is actually a good. I would have said that I should show you the analytics service, but because of time, I won't be able to show you analytics service, because I will show you that you will see that the interface, almost everything is exactly the same. But they use analysis service for enterprise, for organization, people that are doing like maybe banks and big companies. They use analysis service in that, but the interface of the analysis service is exactly like Power Pivot also, because analysis service is also from Microsoft. So so if you have the knowledge of Power Pivot, is a good advantages for you, for that as well. And if someone asks you, do you know how to use analysis service, please don't say no, say yes, that you know how to use it. It's just Power Pivot that they are asking you that, do you know how to use. Don't go and say no. If not, you will lose. That's how you just lose the job. So now let's quickly look at some few DAX, how to create a DAX, how to create DAX here. Now, the differences here is that I also remember something. There's one of my colleagues that is the very first time he's using analysis service. He was creating measures, right? And when he created the measures is not showing the value. He has to do, like, he spent almost like 3 hours troubleshooting it. What is the problem? What is the problem? And the funniest thing is that when he now called, he said, Follow, you have used analysis service before now. I've been troubleshooting this thing for a very long time. Like, what is the problem? And when we want to isolate it, it is just a single semicolon, or is it semicolon, that he needed to put. And in a normal Power BI, we don't use semicolon there. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So in normal Power BI, we will have put semicolon, we don't put semicolon in Power BI, but here in Power Pivot or analysis service, you have to put a semicolon before you can see a result at the front end. If not, it will just be showing blank. And all these little things, it is something that you will now be like, see that you don't know work. You understand? So now, how do you create measures? So for example, now maybe you want to create sales amount, you want to create quantity, so we want to create our total revenue or something. So let's say revenue. So what is revenue? So let's say so now for you to create, so let's say total revenue, or let's say revenue. So let's say revenue. So revenue equals to, now you don't say revenue equals to here. You have to put a semicolon. Is this semicolon that they call this? Yeah, you have to put something like this before you can say, you can't just say type equals to like that. You have to put this semicolon here. Yeah, you have to, is this semicolon or colon? I really do not know. Sorry, maybe for people that, anyone in the comment, can you quickly show how to create calendar table? I've shown you guys how to create a calendar table already now. I've shown, okay, so let me just quickly go through that again. To create a calendar table, go to design, right? Sorry. Let me come back here. So to create a calendar table, go to design, then go to table, then click on new. Once you click on new, it will create the table for you automatically for the person that has a question. So that's how to create a calendar table. So you can, okay, I think I've shown you how to create that already. Okay, so let's move to, okay, please, are we following? This class is very, I don't know, it's too dull for me today. Your screen is lagging. My screen, People that are saying my screen is lagging, is it my screen or your network? So I'm sharing my screen again. So is it my screen or your network? Which one? Okay, so can't be my network. People are saying the screen is okay, but you say it can't be, it's your screen. It's my screen. Okay. Okay, so can you see the screen now? Can you see my screen now? Screen is not lagging. Well, it's mostly to be network anyway. Because network varies with their network, their computer. Okay. Okay, so let's just move on. Let's move on. So now I'm talking about creating measures and using DAX. DAX is what? Data analysis expression. That is the calculation. That if you want to create a calculation in Power Pivot or Power BI, you use the DAX to create it. So now let's create maybe revenue. So to create revenue now, so revenue will be what? Sales amount multiplied by quantity, right? So we'll say, so the first thing that you need to do here is to reference the table, right? So we say sum x. So we use the sum x function here. Why is it not bringing out the function option? So I hope I typed this thing very well. Is it equals to and not sure shouldn't be like that. Should be this sum x. Okay. So yeah, sum x. So sum x. I'm not going to be explaining the function, please, because this is not that class. I will hope that the next facilitator will dwell more on that for you. So sum x, I'm going to say, so the first thing you need to reference is your table. You can even see that they are even telling you, reference what? Your table. So which table are we referencing? The all others table. That's the table, right? So you reference the table, then your expression. What do you want to express? You want to say quantity, you can see quantity multiplied by, sorry. You can see, why is it not referencing at the end of it? What's happening? Okay, quantity. Okay, quantity multiplied by what? Multiplied by our sales amount. Can you see? Sales amount. So this is our revenue. So can you see? This one is going to give us our what? Our revenue. The calculation is going to show here now. Can you see? So we have, can you see the value here? This is the value. So you can create more. Okay, let's say we want to calculate total quantity sold. So we say total. So if you want to create measure, right? This is where you're going to be creating your measure. Inside all these grid, inside these cells, these are where you're going to be creating your measures. So you can see. So you now say total quantity. So total quantity is what? So total quantity is what? That's sum of use the sum function to create total quantity. I hope we are following. I hope we are following. So create total quantity. So let's check this one as well. So this is your total quantity. So now I'm not going to create more, I'm not going to create all the measures for you, but my expectation is that when you are doing your project, it's a group project. So you create more measure, right? If you want to do time intelligence, like, year on year, some of you guys knows this thing, you can leverage this opportunity to refresh your memory. Just use Power BI. Make sure you use Excel. Don't say because you know it in Power BI, you want to go and do it in Power BI. Do it in Excel. You understand? You might see a job tomorrow that it will require you to focus only on Excel. You understand? So make sure that you do all the tasks in Excel. When you go to Power BI, the Power BI facilitator tool will still teach you on how to do it in Power BI as well. So you can create more measure You can do more time intelligence, do more year on year. You can create all the measures here. So, right. So I'm not going to do more, more calculation now because of our time. We have just 23 minutes left. So now let's quickly look at maybe how do you now. So for example, now let's assume that you go back to your Excel, you come back to your Excel. Now you now want to go back to, okay, let's say that you are back to your Excel and you are working, you now want to go back to your power pivot. You want to go back to the measure. You want to go and see, okay, what you have done in your, so just come to your power pivot here. Click on manage. When you click on manage, it will take you to your power pivot back. I hope we all got that. If you go back to your Excel, go to your power pivot, click on manage, it will take you back here. Don't say, I don't know, when I go back to Excel, I don't know how to, because those are the questions that a lot of people always come and meet me for. How do you go back to your Excel? How do you do this? How do you do that? You understand? When you go to your Excel and you are not in your power pivot, you want to go back, just click on manage. When you click on manage, it will take you to your power pivot back. Now, even from your manage tab, from your Excel, from here, you can see if you click on this measure now, if you click on manage measure, you will see all the measure that we created. Can you see? Revenue, total quantity. So you can see the measure that we created. If you want to delete a measure, you can delete it from here. If you want to delete it, you can. Yeah, if you want to edit it, maybe the measure you created, there are some errors there. You can click on edit. When you click on edit, it will take you to your editing button where you can edit it, or you can even categorize it as well. You can see. So you can, let's check formula. No error in the formula. So you can see cancel. So cancel. So you can see you can delete it and you can do some other things. So now let's go back to our power pivot. So from the home tab, right? So now let's assume that we want to start doing some analysis. We want to start creating dashboard and we want to start creating like a report. And please, this is what I'm looking at. I want to see in your project. This is not an individual work now. This is a team work. In your project, I should be able to see that you guys create, though we did not talk about dashboard. I know. So, but at least you guys should be able to demonstrate, you have done pivot charts, pivot table yesterday. I'm not really sure whether they show you how to use pivot chart as well. If they taught you how to use pivot chart, at least do some kind of dashboard, maybe like 4 or 5 dashboard to show that, okay, you guys are able to analyze something. That is what I'm expecting that from your project assignment. So from here now, you can click on pivot table. Can you see pivot table or pivot chart? So let's click on pivot table. So from here now, let's click on pivot table. See that we are going back to yesterday class again. So you understand? So let's do it on new existing sheets. So let's click on OK. A new worksheet. Okay. So now can you see? So this is our pivot table. Now we are going back to what you guys did yesterday. Now what are we saying here is that yesterday is only one table you can analyze. But today, you can see now that we can analyze 4 or 5 tables together. But when you're using pivot table alone, pivot table is just one table that you can analyze at a single time. So the deficiency of pivot table is that it cannot analyze more than one table. But Power Pivot can help you to analyze more than one table. You understand? So that's the essence of that. So if you want to start creating so let's say product name. So let's put product name to our row. Now the calculation that we created, the calculation is in our all order. So let's say revenue. Can you see the calculation here? Revenue. Let's bring the revenue into our values here. So you can see that we have revenue, and if you want to do like a pivot chart, you can. Let's see how we can turn this to a chart. So let's just highlight this. Then I'll go home, go to insert, click on. Let's say you want to create a chart. Let's say create a chart. So you can create a chart, probably you can do top 5 or top 10, you can arrange it. Well, I don't really build dashboard with Excel like that. So I'm not really good with creating dashboard in Excel. But if you are very good with Excel dashboard, please implement it with your, you can teach your members on how to do that, So you can teach your member on how to on how to do this, create measures, do time intelligence. You can create a new page, like a new page. You can create like a new page, that, let me show you something. You can create like a new page, maybe like this particular page now. You can format it to something like this, and maybe you just bring in this chart. I know one time like that when I was still like, you can create a dashboard with Excel. I have a friend that she's very, very good with, creating dashboard in Excel. I don't know, maybe one of these days I will bring her on board to come and teach us here how to create dashboard with Excel, because I know she's very good. So you can create a dashboard. At the end of the day, your project, don't just submit based on what is giving you in the instruction. You can do more, make your project more, let it be more explicit, like give us analysis of what the data is all about. Make sure that you use your Excel to achieve that. You can document the project, put it on your GitHub. You created a GitHub when you started this class. Put it on GitHub. When the recruiters are asking you, have you done any project before? You can showcase all these projects. You understand? That is the only way you can tell people that you actually know how to use Excel. You understand? So please, I think we are done for today. Yeah, we are done for today. If you have any question, you can drop your question. But before you go, please fill your attendance. My pivot table is not enabled. How do I activate it? I have shown you how to activate pivot table like 2 times. I have activated pivot table. Is it pivot table or power pivot? Sorry, I didn't get. You're saying pivot table. The area for the model is not active. Can you share your screen? So there's quiz. Don't go yet. So let me make sure you fill your attendance, and there's also quiz. I'm going to share you the link to your quiz. If you have question, when is the deadline for the project? Okay, so I'll communicate the deadline. If you have any question, please ask your question. Someone said if you have any question, you can raise your hand and ask your question. If you have any question, you can ask your question. So let me get you the link for today's quiz. Yeah, let me get the link for today's quiz. So for your project submission, since it's a project work, I know that some people will draft some other people. So probably I will give you like 2 weeks for your project. How do we upload project on GitHub? Well, I'm not going to teach you how to upload unless you want to do advanced class. During the advanced class, we will talk about how to upload project on GitHub. I don't seem to understand that site. Well, you can only understand it when we are doing advanced class, because that is the only time we are going to talk about GitHub. How to upload documents, how to upload it on GitHub. Okay, so let me get you guys your quiz link, and please make sure you fill your attendance. If you have questions, please ask questions. If you have any issue, you can drop your question as well. So let me get today's quiz link. Coming. Please allow, I think we can stop recording so that the recording doesn't take, I think we are done with today's class. Yeah. We're done with today's class. Let me stop recording. Please make sure you fill the attendance. Let me stop recording. Please, let's fill the attendance. Let me get more information on the project, please.